He was Canada's first superstar Olympian and also went on to a great college and coaching career and eventually became called the father of Philadelphia hockey. So today we're talking about a Canadian that did so much in the sports he was involved with. There should be books or place locations or rinks named after him, but because he was so humble when he was alive, he basically said, just let me do what I do. So today we're going to be talking about the great George Orton. Now, Strathroy, Ontario was his birthplace. January 1073, born George Washington F. Orton. In 1900, he became the first Canadian to win a medal at an Olympic Games. He won a bronze in the 400-meter hurdles. And not to be undone, 45 minutes later, won the gold medal in the 2,500-meter steeplechase. He was the first athlete with a disability to win an Olympic gold medal as well. At the University of Pennsylvania, for whom he competed while earning his master's in 1984 and doctorate in 1896, he completed his ability to speak 9 different languages. He was captain of Penn's track and field team in 1896 and was a founder and captain of its ice hockey team in 1896-97, thus allowing him to be known as the father of Philadelphia hockey. He won 17 U.S. national track and field titles. Now, the son of Oliver Henry Orton, a laborer, and his wife Mary Ann Irvine, he was paralyzed when he fell out of a tree at the age of 3. The fall caused a blood clot in his brain and severely damaged his right arm. He was later diagnosed with spinal meningitis. I had the same disease when I was 13 months old. He could not walk until age 10, but fully regained his mobility around age 12. Of course, as a survivor of spinal meningitis, he had some relapses through the years. Now, he did his undergraduate studies at U of T, earning a BA in 1893 in Romance languages. He was then offered a scholarship at the University of Pennsylvania in 1893 to complete his master's and PhD at the age of 23. Now, by the time he completed his PhD, he was the top middle distance runner in the world. He won a then record 17 national titles in the States, along with 7 in Canada, being a dual citizen. Also, at the British AAA Championship Steeplechase event, he won the title at the 1898 AAA title finals. He won the U.S. 1-mile championship 6 times, the 2-mile steeplechase 7 times, the cross-country twice, the 5-mile run, and the 10-mile run. While a student at UOT in 1892, he set a mile record of 4:21.8, which lasted for 42 years. In total, he won 131 races, including a staggering 33 national and international title wins. Now, the crowning achievement of Orton's career was the 90 Summer Olympics, held in Paris. Orton competed in 3 official Olympic events, 2 steeplechase competitions, and the 400-meter hurdles. He also competed in several other events that were handicapped races and not recognized by the IOC. Orton had to give up either time or distance to other runners these events because of his success on the track. He won a bronze in the 400-meter hurdles, the last of which was a water jump. Just 45 minutes later, suffering from intestinal virus, Orton won the gold medal in the 2,500-meter steeplechase, selling a world record of 7:34.4. The next day, still ill, he placed 5th in the 4,000-meter steeplechase. Unlike today, the early Olympic athletes did not represent their birth country in these competitions. Nationality was unimportant. They ran as individuals or members of a university delegation or athletic club, including the name of a country alongside a competitor's name, did not begin until 1908. At the time, the IOC retroactively added a nationality alongside the names of previous performers, and that is how Orton became known as an American. Next to his name in the record books, it read George Orton, USA. This mistake would go unnoticed for over 7 years before the IOC transferred these medal records from the U.S. tally to Canada's medal total. Orton is also the first athlete with a disability to win an Olympic gold medal. For many years, he managed to hide his disability, the dead right arm and hand permanently damaged in his childhood accident. Now, again, known as the father of Philadelphia hockey, he introduced ice hockey to Philadelphians in 1896 while at Penn and captained the first team there. Citing a lack of proper facility, he was responsible for the building of the first indoor ice arena in Philadelphia, and the popularity of the sport took off from there. Orton founded the Philadelphia Hockey League in 1897, and the following year formed the Quaker City Hockey Club, which played in a highly competitive American Amateur Hockey League. From 20 to 22, he coached the Penn varsity hockey team. Years earlier, while attending UT, he helped form the first hockey team there and also played soccer for the varsity team in the Toronto Football League. Orton was chosen to play on Canada's team that took the field against a U.S. All-Star squad from Fall River, Massachusetts on June 14, 1891. In 1910, he played center half for the Philadelphia All-Stars against the New York All-Stars in Haverford, Pennsylvania. And in 23, at the age of 50, he was playing soccer for Merchantville in the Philadelphia League. He was a member of the Marion and Belmont Cricket Clubs of Philadelphia, the New York Athletic Club, the Pennsylvania Athletic Club, the University of Pennsylvania Track Club, and was the secretary of the Rose Tree Fox Hunting Club of Medea, Pennsylvania for 43 years. Orton was also a member of the American Academy of Poets and spoke 9 languages fluently. And you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this person is not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't know what's going on here, but I checked into that, and I think he should have been in decades ago. Now, as a track coach, he took part in the first Penn Rally Carnival in 1895 and later became again head instructor at Penn, taking over after the death of Mike Murphy. He wrote the definitive training manual for runners, distance and cross-country running in 1903, and also wrote a book on history of Penn athletics. He was a manager of the Penn Relays from 1919 to 25 and helped nurture the event in his early years, making it the greatest annual track and field competition in the world. He was inducted in the Canada Sports Hall of Fame and the Canadian Olympic Hall of Fame, as well as University of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame and the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. His other books include the Bob Hunt series aimed at young men or boys who enjoy the outdoors. In 1903, Orton co-founded Camp Tecumseh in Meredith, New Hampshire. A decade later, he founded Camp Iroquois, the first overnight athletic camp for girls and young women. Now, he was competitive in soccer and became a writer on sports and running. In 1911, Orton teamed up with Thomas Cahill to write a guide to Association Football or soccer. And of course, he was head secretary of the Rose Tree Hunt Club. Now, he was named to the Helm Foundation and the University of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame as well. He died on June 24, 1958, in Laconia, New Hampshire, at the busy age of 85. A book about Orton, The Greatest Athlete You'd Ever Heard Of, was published in 2019. Now with Pennsylvania as a college head coach, 1-5-1 in 1920, 3-5-1 in 1921, 2-5 in 1922. Now he's been featured in many write-ups through the years, including a 2012 article in the Canadian Encyclopedia, and Dave Baxter did a very interesting book review of the George Orton book. Now, according to Mark Haberscher's book, with a foreword by Ron McLean, ask a Canadian about this country's first Olympic gold medal winner, and chances are that the athlete's name will easily come to mind. Author, sports commentator, and television personality Mark Haberscher was asked that same question and discovered he didn't know the answer either. That realization led him what he called a bewildering 2-year odyssey to learn all he could about the little-known Canadian. In The Greatest Athlete You Never Heard Of, Haberscher tells the story of George Orton, who was paralyzed as a child and told he may never walk again, but went on to become one of the greatest athletes in North American history and of his generation. Now, at the 1900 Paris Olympics, Orton won the gold medal in the 2,500-meter steeplechase event, but in an era when athletes did not compete for their countries, he was later incorrectly listed as being an American. Perhaps this is why, because Orton, who was born in Canada, competed for the University of Pennsylvania. It was more than 70 years before the mistake was finally corrected, and his victory credited to Canada. Mark Haberscher's book, The Greatest Athlete You'd Ever Heard Of, tells the story of an athlete who, the author says, should be celebrated but somehow landed in history's dustbin. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, is he the greatest athlete you've ever heard of? Well, probably yes, because you got to understand he was a hockey player, a soccer player, track and field, multiple sports. He would have been a tremendous Paralympian. But the idea about George Orton, what we learned in school, it was this: perseverance. If somebody told him he couldn't do something, he said, "Frig you, I'm going to do it." But George Orton, you look at Summer McIntosh, you look at our great hammer throwers this week, you look at our judokas, every Canadian that wins a gold medal at the Olympics or even any other color medal owe a lot to this guy, because 1896 we weren't really considered for that Olympics, but 1900 he's the foundation of Canadian success at the Olympics. I think there should be an award, in the Hockey Hall of Fame should put him in. There should be an award called the George Orton Memorial Award to recognize Canada's, I don't know, Olympic athlete of the year or something similar, like amateur athlete. I know we have, it's already somebody, but something special, maybe somebody that's went against the odds, poverty or whatever. But he was a handsome-looking guy too. You look at the photos here; he was a decent-looking guy. So, just because you're physically or mentally impaired does not mean you can't be a success at who you are. So that's a story of the greatest athlete you never heard of, the great George Orton. If you like what you're doing here with our Olympic Vintage Heritage podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.